Shalom, shalom, Shabbat Adonai. Welcome to the Sixth Exodus program. Thank you for listening. This segment here is called The Terrible Day of the Lord. Make it plain on tablets so he may run who reads it, for still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end, it will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come, it will not delay. Behold, his soul is puffed up. It is not upright within him, but the righteous shall live by his faith. Moreover, wine is a traitor, an arrogant man who is never at rest. His greed is as wide as Sheol. Like death, he has never enough. He gathers for himself all nations and collects as his own people. Woe to him who heaps up what is not his own. For how long? And loads himself with people, with plagues. Will not the debtor suddenly arise, and those awake who will make you tremble? Then you will be spoiled for them, because you have plundered many nations. All the remnant of the people shall plunder you, for the blood of men and violence to the earth, to the cities, and all who dwell in them. Woe to him who gets evil gain for his house, to set his nest on high, to be safe from the reach of harm. You who devises shame for your house by cutting off many people, you have fortified your life, for the stone will cry out from the wall, and the beam from the woodwork respond. Woe to him who builds a town with blood, and founds a city on iniquity. Behold, it is not from the Lord of hosts that people labor merely for fire, and nations weary themselves for nothing. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters covers the sea. Woe to him who makes his neighbor drink, who pour out your wrath to make them drunk, in order to gaze at their nakedness. You will have your fill of shame instead of glory. Drink yourself, and show your uncircumcision. The cup of the Lord's right hand will come around to you, and utter shame will come upon your glory, and violence done to Lebanon will overwhelm you, as will the destruction of the beasts that terrified them. For the blood of man and violence to the earth, to the cities and all who dwells in them. What profit is an idol when its maker has shaped it? A metal image, a teacher of lies. For it makers trust in its own creation, when he makes speechless idols. Woe to him who say to a wooden thing, awake, to a silent stone, arise. Can it teach? Behold, it is overlaid with gold and silver, and there is no breath in it at all. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. God of God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. His splendor covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. His brightness was like the light. The rays flashed from his hands, and there he revealed his power. Before him went pestilence, and the plagues followed at his heels. He stood and measured the earth. He looked and shook the nations, and the eternal mountains were scattered. The everlasting hills sank low. His were the everlasting ways. I saw the tents of Cushan in affliction. The curtains of the land of Midian did tremble. Was your wrath against the rivers, O Lord? Was your anger against the rivers? Or did your indignation against the sea? When you rode on your horses, on the chariots of salvation, you stripped the scythe from your bow, calling for many arrows. You split the earth with rivers, and mountains saw you and withered. The raging rivers swept on. The deep gave up its voice. It lifted its hands on high. The sun and the moon stood still in their places. At the light of your arrows, as they spun, as the flash of your glittering spear, you marched through the earth in fury. You thrashed the nations in anger. You went out for the salvation of your people, for the salvation of your anointed. You crushed the head of the house of the wicked, laying them bare with their thigh to neck. You pierced with his own arrows the head of his arrows, who came like a whirlwind to scatter me, rejoicing as if to devour the poor in secret. You trampled the sea with your horses, the scourging of the mighty waters. I hear, and my body tremble. My lips quiver at the sound of rottenness. In fact, rottenness has entered my bones, and my legs tremble beneath me. Yet I will be quiet and wait for the terrible day of the Lord to come upon the people who invaded us. Though the fig tree shall not blossom, nor fruits be on its vines, the produce of olive fail, and the fields yield no food, the flocks be cut off from his fields, and there be no herd in the stall, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will take joy in the God of my salvation. God, the Lord is my strength. He make my feet like the deer's. He make me to tread on my high places. O Lord, my God, how long shall I cry for help, and you will not hear, or cry to you, violence, and you will not save? Why do you make me to see iniquity? And why do you idly look at wrong? Destruction and violence are before me. Strife and contentions arise. So the law is paralyzed, and justice never goes forth. For the wicked surround the righteous, so justice goeth forth perverted. Look among the nations and see, wonder and be astonished, for I am doing a work in your days that you will not believe if told. For behold, I am rising up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, who marches through the breadth of the earth to seize dwellings not their own. They are the dreaded and fearful someone. Their justice and their dignity go forth for themselves. Their horses are swifter than leopards, more fierce than engaging wolves. Their horsemen press proudly on. Their horsemen come from afar. They fly like an eagle, swift to devour. They all come for violence, and their faces are forward. They gather captives like sand. At kings they scoff, and at rulers they laugh. They laugh at every fortress, for they pile up the earth and take it. Then they sweep by like the wind and go on. Guilty men whose own might is their own God. But you, O Lord, are from everlasting to everlasting. My Lord, my God, the Holy One of Israel, we will not die. O Lord, you have ordained them as a judgment, and you, O Rock, have established them for reproof. You are of pure eyes than to see evil, and cannot look at wrong. Why do you idly look at traitors and remain silent when the wicked swallows up the man of more righteous than he? You make mankind like the fish of the sea, like crawling things that have no ruler. He brings all of them up in the hook and drags them out with his net and gathers them in his dragnet. So he rejoices and is glad. Therefore he sacrifices to his net and makes offerings to his dragnet. For by them he lives in luxury, and his food in is rich. It is he who keeps it empty in his net and unnecessarily killing nations forever. I will take my stand at my watchpost and station myself on the tower and look out to see what he will say to me and what I will answer concerning my complaint. O Lord my God, great is thy faithfulness, and you are mighty to save. We are waiting for you, O Most High, God of the universe. Your inheritance is waiting for you. We will wait and be still and see the salvation of our God.